So what's the truth about menopause?
Well, the medical monopoly actually used menopause as a way to experiment back in the Middle Ages. The 1500s, the 1600s, surgery was still kind of a new concept. All the medical people are all men. So they're looking at women like, what's wrong with them? Nobody knew what to do with menopause. There was no name, Sean. Menopause got its name in the 1800s. So there's no name. So you have all these women going through these symptoms, going to their doctor, or having their doctor come to them, because doctors would make rounds back then on a horse, right? And there were a lot of surgeries done where they would just take women, take their ovaries, take their uterus constantly. And this process actually advanced surgical technology.
Guinea pigs.
Yeah. Yeah. And then when they realized that the surgeries weren't working, then they started making drugs. As soon as they isolated estrogen, the hormone estrogen, they started creating what's called hormone replacement therapy, which back then wasn't called that. It was called something else.
When did they stop the butchering treatments that they did for the menopause, and when did they implement the hormones, basically?
I don't quote me on this, but I think it was the 1800s.
Okay.
I think that's when it switched, and then they discovered estrogen, and then they isolated it, and then they had to figure out how to create it, because the idea was, okay, women are losing estrogen, we need to give them estrogen. It's a supplement mentality, which is fine, right? We do it in nutrition all the time.
Yeah.
But this is a hormone.
Yeah.
This is different. This is different than vitamin C. So they had pregnant women. They would collect pregnant women's urine. And then they discovered that it was too problematic. And they discovered it was too expensive. So then they moved on to horses. So they started collecting horse urine.
Really?
Which had high estrogen. So then they started doing that. Now they're pumping women full of estrogen. And they were experimenting on mice as well. And they started realizing that it created the sea monster. Too much estrogen creates sea monster of the breast. Why the breast? Because it's fatty tissue. And more estrogen creates more tissue. So here we got this problem. And so they had to take that off the market. And then they came back around just recently, just a few decades ago, with the new hormone replacement therapy and bioidenticals and all that. And they're marketing it very strategically. And so it's a big money earner. Because these women, some of their symptoms are so atrocious. They're in misery. They can't sleep. And they just want to get out of the burning building. So what are they going to do? Primary care physician. Yeah. And what's primary care physician going to do? Prescribe antidepressants, anxiety medication, and hormone replacement therapy. So menopause is being treated as a dis-ease, but it's not. It's a natural process that a woman goes through as she goes from her childbearing years to her grandmother years. That's what it is. It's supposed to be a beautiful transition, a beautiful process. If a woman is healthy, menopause is going to last about 15 minutes.
Really?
Maybe if she's healthy but not the healthiest, maybe it lasts a month or two. But now women are going through it for 5 to 10 years. And there's nothing that needs to be done except strengthening the endocrine system.
Yeah, how do you do that?
Well, they're all made of soft tissue. So we're right back to a root cause, which would be nutritional deficiency, soft tissue deficiency to be exact. A woman's ovaries slowly weaken. By the time she's around 50 years old, they pretty much shut off. Now she's going to lose everything that the ovaries produce. Estrogen, progesterone, testosterone. But the adrenal glands are supposed to step up and handle that. It's a switch. So the adrenal glands are supposed to produce these 3 hormones after the ovaries are done. And the thyroid helps circulate it all. And the pituitary is involved. All the glands are involved in this process. It's the entire endocrine system.
Really?
What's the main nutrient for soft tissue deficiency?
It's just about to get into that cholesterol.
It's cholesterol.
Yeah. The main thing that they're telling women and everybody not to consume.
Right. So the same thing that is essentially causing brain conditions is also causing very, very bad menopause experiences. It's low cholesterol. Because cholesterol is the raw material that makes hormones.
Yeah.
Whoa, what an idea.
It's technically I don't know where I read it, but it's the master steroid.
Yeah.
It's
cholesterol. Cholesterol. It's so blatantly obvious. But the medical monopoly and Big Pharma has made us generally scared of cholesterol.
And more diseases from that derived.
Right.
Wow.
Right. And menopause is not a disease. It's a process, but it makes it worse. Yeah. The other thing that's making it worse is stress. Because the adrenal glands are the stress glands. Right? That's what produces the cortisol and the adrenaline.
Yeah.
So if you get a woman that's very worrisome and stresses out all the time, you're going to notice that she's overweight.
And
more
high
than
blood
likely.
pressure, right?
Yep. Blood pressure too. The top number.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Top number's adrenals, bottom number's kidneys.
Really?
Yeah. So you get yourself, say, 45-year-old overweight woman, probably stressed out, probably a posterior pelvic tilt in the pelvis. And it's menopause time. She's going to struggle because the adrenal glands are so weak from the stress. Thyroid could be weak. Pituitary could be weak. Cholesterol is low. They got her on statins. And, you know, it has to be turned around or she's going to go through misery. And so the medical monopoly takes advantage of that, just like they did in the Middle Ages. The moral of the story is that the medical monopoly has been using women as lab rats since the Middle Ages when it comes to menopause. And that's too bad.
Yeah.
So here at the clinic, our virtual clinic, we would fatten up a woman, essentially. Get as much fat, get as much cholesterol as we possibly can in her, and reset the hormones.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you're not going to be able to reset them on potatoes and rice. No cholesterol, no fat.
Yeah.
So we got to turn this around. There's too many women suffering out there.
Absolutely.
This, it's brutal. It can be brutal. I mean, we don't know personally, obviously, because we're men, but with so many women coming through the virtual clinic, plus family members that we know, it's just brutal.
You see it. I mean, you see it. You don't even have to be with them 24/7 to see how much of a toll menopause takes on them.
Yeah.
Just with the hot flashes. My mom went through it all the time. They can't even sleep through the night.
Right.
Because they're sweating, or get through the day comfortably because they either have to go back home to change because they're sweating or something along those lines. It's like terrible. It's like they have to go through that.
Yeah. Yeah. It's the endocrine system. It's just the medical monopoly is focused on the ovaries.
Mm-hmm.
Ovaries. And if they can take them out, they will.
Yeah.
I wonder how much that surgery costs. We just had a client whose hot flashes went away in 10 days on the program.
Yeah.
10 days.
Yeah, she was even in the the actual 120. She was just in the orientation. So, I mean, we got to turn this around. We need our women.
Jumpstart your head-to-toe healing journey with the Dr. Reese book trilogy. Peace Over Pain is the cult classic that explains how head-to-toe healing works and how the medical monopoly doesn't. Reverse the Cause lays out the root causes to over 60 chronic conditions. And Dinner with Dr. Reese is a unique cookbook that contains 100 recipes without the destructive pour for foods. Together, all 3 books set you on a path to head-to-toe healing. Get yours today on Amazon, Audible, or peaceoverpain.com. Also, if you'd like to ask a question, tune in every Tuesday at 6 p.m. Eastern for Dr. Reese Live.